Bullseye down there at the bottom of the board for Sooner, and then he is going to place his Deadpool right on top.
Deadpool.
And there's Cable, hanging out with his best friend, Baron Zemo.
I look like a spook.
Who's playing, bro? Just got here. Ryan Freddy, hey, by the way, thank you for joining the Patreon, dude. That was very nice. I really appreciate that. Thank you. We have Pat from Afrado's Size 3 Tackle Truck playing X-Force for Nathan's Angels, and we have Sooner from Grip It and Rip It.
Pincushion's 5.
Yeah, but he rolled 4 dice and crit, so
well, that's because
you have been a throwing knife.
You get
right?
to you get to make a throwing knife after you do the attack.
Gotcha. So that was the follow-up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of brutal, especially when you have somebody like Toad who's like, I'm just going to hang out back here, snap that one objective, and then run away. Yep. He now can't do the runaway piece. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like Black Widow's the same way. Nebula don't care. Objectives aren't real. Objectively, they're objective.
Objective, yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm just trying to,
Tizzy, I hate to say it, but I think Magneto's probably the weakest of the... Jesus. I'm not sure I'm allowed to legally say this. I love mommy. Thank you for the follow. I'm not sure if I'm not... or the chin, because these areas are the ones that jut out the most, so it requires more hair for it to be harder to see. It'll be like the most transparent. And then just make sure you get along the ridge line, or the jaw line. And then just make sure you also make sure it's in front of the ear, because that's where the hair actually grows. So if they have something on their face, that makes it easy. But what you do is you can do a couple layers, and what this will do... I'm like a ripe grape. You just gotta step on me. Don't clip that.
Sooner, putting another W under the belt.
Yep.
Got to thank the person that is shackled in his basement because he's given him all the practice he could possibly need.
Yep.
This is incredible. What an upset. There's Domino. Gotta love her.
Domino. Orders usually in 30 minutes.
Bullseye's
Get
down.
10 pizza points every time you play her.
Domino is definitely a X-Men wine mom.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yep. Baron Zemo.
Bullseye down there at the bottom of the board for Sooner, and then he is going to place his Deadpool right on top.
Deadpool.
And there's Cable, hanging out with his best friend, Baron Zemo.
I look like a spook.
which is kind of brutal, especially when you have somebody like Toad who's like, I'm just going to hang out back here, snap that one objective, and then run away. Yep. He now can't do the runaway piece. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like Black Widow's the same way. Nebula don't care. Objectives aren't real. Objectively, they're objective.
Objective, yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm just trying to, make the game last longer because this is going to be quick. So we are going to start out with Black Widow over here.
Who's playing, bro? Just got here. Ryan Freddy, hey, by the way, thank you for joining the Patreon, dude. That was very nice. I really appreciate that. Thank you. We have Pat from Afrado's Size 3 Tackle Truck playing X-Force for Nathan's Angels, and we have Sooner from Grip It and Rip It.
Pincushion's 5.
Yeah, but he rolled 4 dice and crit, so
well, that's because
you have been a throwing knife.
You get
right?
to well, you get to make a throwing knife after you do the attack.
Gotcha. So that was the follow-up.
Yeah.
Who's playing, bro? Just got here. Ryan Freddy, hey, by the way, thank you for joining the Patreon, dude. That was very nice. I really appreciate that. Thank you. We have Pat from Afrado's Size 3 Tackle Truck playing X-Force for Nathan's Angels, and we have Sooner from Grip It and Rip It.
Pincushion's 5.
Yeah, but he rolled 4 dice and crit, so
well, that's because
you have been a throwing knife.
You get
right?
to you get to make a throwing knife after you do the attack.
Gotcha. So that was the follow-up.
Yeah. Domino. Gotta love her.
Domino. Orders usually in 30 minutes.
Bullseye's
Get
down.
10 pizza points every time you play her.
Domino is definitely a X-Men wine mom.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yep. Baron Zemo.
Bullseye down there at the bottom of the board for Sooner, and then he is going to place his Deadpool right on top.
Deadpool.
People of the internet,
It is me, Dr. D. Wow, incredible. It's Sunday, which means extra hobby chat, even though it's been every Sunday since I've been put in charge of this. Huh. Invite to what? Just go in the Discord.
Hello.
Okay. I think they can hear you. There's nobody here, but if there was somebody here, I bet they could hear you.
Okay. I gotta turn my audio down to 69.
Nice.
I knew you'd like it.
Yeah, it definitely is picking you up. Okay, you're in here. It's us. We did it. We've conquered the internet. We did it again. Hooray. We did it, guys. Yeah, we did it. We're the best.
So I'm
Hi,
actually
Ernie.
I'm gonna mute you. I don't want to hear you through the headphones, but you may want to do the same to me because it's a little bit of an echo.
Oh, when I have a headset on, I can't hear you
Okay.
anyway. So, um,
Hey, look, Choppa.
it's Ernie. Hi, Ernie.
Well, his name is Choppa. I don't want to dox him.
His name is. He didn't answer my question in the chat. That's what his actual name is.
That's all. I was gonna do more, but they're mine. There we go.
Okay, so today we will be painting some shadow point. Maybe some other stuff too. Just kind of depends on what we're doing in case we need to wait for something to dry. I don't suspect we will, but I think today
Were these here to show off?
will be no. I did those. I was fixing those to put them in the cabinet later. So we're gonna be treating the droids to a little fun paint time. So the white is done, which we did well, I guess that was last week. I guess technically. So last week we did that, and then today, hopefully, we'll get them most of the way done. Thankfully, the R2 is actually surprisingly simple. I keep looking at art for him, and I don't know what I'm remembering, but I keep thinking that he's like way more paint intensive than he actually is. So not a huge deal there. So that's cool. I also got a Malifaux model over here just in case we need something to paint on the off in any off time we might have. And then
What's her name?
his name is Pearl.
Pearl.
Musgrove. She's pretty good. Pretty good in the game. We used her against you yesterday. She was
She was pretty good.
pretty okay. And we will also be touching up some other Shatterpoint stuff with the Lando Calrissian model, which is in the same set as Bar 2. So I'm hopefully going to be finishing up that box. I think all that's left is Lando, R2. Well, I guess it's everybody but Luke. You know, with those boxes, only have 4 models. But pretty soon I'll probably paint her. I'll also have quite a bit. Yeah, I can hear an echo of me in the background from the headset. Oh, great. I'm going to get more
Like,
complaints.
I'm not offended if you need to mute me.
Gonna complain. Oh yeah, that's probably true. I do need to do that.
Like, we can hear each other.
I'm glad we're like in a chat by ourselves and then we just mute each other. Yeah, that's yeah, it's for the diehard fans in the chat. And then I was gonna show off the finished Russians. So last week, I am still there. I promise. I had to get up. Last week we were doing the Russians, and I said that they would be finished, and they sort of are. Everything but the last part. So.
They look way better than the picture on the website.
So I think they came out pretty good.
They look so cold.
Yeah, I would imagine they are.
Really look like they're in the cold.
I didn't do any red noses or anything actually. I might do that.
Oh, that's a good point.
I do them every once in a while. I don't do it on everybody because it kind of loses the novelty of it. But I think they actually came out pretty okay.
Well, not everybody blushes the same amount.
That's true. That's what they say. A lot of people say that. Lots and lots and lots of people say that. Okay, so yeah, there's gonna be dogs in the background. You're gonna.
Hey, 4 viewers, we've doubled our viewership.
Yeah, well, let's just say we're seeing the numbers improve in real time. Okay, so we might get a big rush of people at some point because, from what I understand, Hello There is gonna send people as soon as Jesse knows what's going on. So we might get a big rush of people here pretty soon. But I don't think we should wait for them. What we could do, as just a little aside until they start showing up, though, is we could do a couple people with the little red noses thing I was talking about. So if you're painting models in the cold, something that you could always do, especially if they're human, is you can paint their faces and like the nose and stuff like that, like a little red to make it look like they're irritated. So I'm actually just going to use a little bit of like Mephiston red. I love the air versions of them. But again, with GW paints, you always got to be careful because technically the colors will change between pots, which is which is great. Just take a little bit of that red. You really want to be careful with this. It's pretty light stuff. Take it. So if you're well, in this case, if you're painting like Hoth troopers or something, because I'm assuming Rebel Hoth stuff is going to come out at some point. What you can do is this, which I've definitely done before. For some Star Wars stuff that was on like ice planets. But you just take a little red and you put it on his nose, and they definitely look very irritated. Thank you, Scarlet Widow, even though I know who you are. And then you can put a little bit on cheeks. Yeah, now we're a profitable stream. We did it. And there you go. And then that's a pretty easy trick that you can do to really enhance the quality of your models. I've found that it's usually the little details that people fall in love with. Hi, Dan. How's it going, Dan? It really will make your model stand out from the crowd. That is definitely a very easy way to do it. And the more you can incorporate your not your table, but like your basing. The more your basing strategy blends in with the model, I think that you get a bit of a third aspect to the models that you would otherwise not get. Just because it's like a form of storytelling. See, there you go. So now he looks like he's got irritated nose. You could even use like a gloss varnish and maybe do like a little snot coming out of their nose or something like that. But I think that would be that would be hard to see. But if you have like a bigger model that you really want to look like they're freezing, like if you're doing not a diorama, but like a bust, you could always add a little like gloss varnish. I've noticed that you could use gloss varnish for like a lot of different things. You'll get like really cool effects. So there you go. So I'm doing like I'll do like 4 of them. Do one more, just to kind of break it up, just make it like just give it the old razzle dazzle.
Our dogs are not happy that we're both painting at the same time.
Yeah, the dogs will get upset that we paint at the same time. So if you hear them woofing, it's unacceptable that we are here painting together.
I hear you, but I'm painting. It's not dinner time.
There you go. And then one other thing. Yeah, I know it's not R2. It'll be 1 sec. I'm just finishing up what we were doing last week, just to kind of do some tips. See, R2's real. See, he's right here.
I'm hot and tired from mowing the yard. Aww. And he came in here
It'll be
for
fine.
some R2, and yeah, I get that.
Rylan, you got it. Just once, one tire spin at a time.
R2 is the big portion of the stream.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other last thing I want to go over that's kind of cool, again, that is really good for like narrative storytelling if you want to go for your bases and stuff like that. Whoever that is in the background, I can't hear. Can you not hear Kara on the... Oh, it's because I muted her. Right, that's the only reason.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, because, then they're going to have to hear. I don't know if there's going to be a way to fix that.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just have to talk quietly. I'll just have to whisper.
That's,
It's Kara.
That's a difficult challenge for me.
Kara is the significant other of the house. Okay, so something you can do, again, for like ice basing. So what I did was I saw that this one had a lot of gaps in the basing. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it looked like there was like some frozen water? So I painted in like a little bit of like a icy sky blue. Turn her up. There.
Hey.
Turn her up. Now you're taking a shower.
He's like, I want to listen to that
Bro.
while I'm in the shower.
What do you want from me, Rylan? Jeez.
I think you
Okay.
misunderstand this stream, Rylan.
So anyway, what you can do is you see that blue there. You can hit it with a little bit of like a gloss varnish. So funnily enough, this is actually something that GW makes that I think is really good. They have an Ard Goat. It's really kind of easy to access, like a gloss varnish. Just make sure you don't use a expensive brush for this. So if you just take it, it's really good cheap water effect if you want to use it like that. So you just get it in there and you glob it up in the areas that you think you want some like ice. Even just the the shininess of it, as long as the coat underneath it, you will get like a good water effect. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Tim.
I don't shower to Tim's voice either.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I don't either, even though I probably should. It might help with my commissioned rates, you know. Maximum sellout. But anyway, you go in there with a little bit of that varnish. You can even glob it in there because you want it to look like liquid. Now you could use water effect, but I notice it's kind of just a pain in the butt to get it all out, just to do like a little puddle. And then you just plop it in there. And as you can see, it kind of gives it like a little bit. It's like a super cheap water effect. It's super easy. And
For like tiny places, not like big pools.
yeah, don't use it for like terrain and stuff like that. That will be bad. That will be very bad. Hold on, I gotta fix something real quick. Okay, so let's get to the main part of the show. So we're gonna do some Shatterpoint R2D2. So we have both of the R2D2s that AMG have released. We've really got to fix that audio thing. It's gonna drive me insane. Listening to myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I'll mute myself when I'm not talking.
There you go. That works. Okay, so what was I saying? You ouching, Dan? Oh, oh, you mean what he was talking about? Okay, so we have both of the AMG R2D2s. Bar 2D2 is the one that comes in the Jabba's Palace, I guess is what people are calling it. Or at least the skiff, I guess. Maybe not the palace itself, but the palace skiff from Shatterpoint, which comes with the Luke, the Lando, the Leia in the bounty hunter. I guess it would be Palace because she's not in that outfit. Otherwise, she'd be in the bikini. And then the other one is from the Endor box, which is not the one that Leia's in. It's the one that comes with I want to say the Shaman. I don't remember, but the R2D2s are pretty much exactly the same, which is cool. I already did the blue. So last week we did the silver, which is essentially just some scale 75s. Did it, and then we gave it a bit of a blue glaze to make it more shiny and metallic, which is what gives it some depth. So if you look at like this side, which is the shaded half, and then you look at the bright side, you got two different kinds of metal there, which I think it came out pretty okay, which I'm happy with. So when you look at pictures of R2, which I will pull up for myself, R2D2's blue is actually it's not quite as like electric blue as for some reason my brain told me it was. So what we're gonna do?
It's not as metallic as I thought it was either.
Yeah, I think the only part of it that's silver, I think, is just the dome. So we're gonna use some dark Prussian blue. It's one of my favorites for blue basing, and usually where I start with pretty much all my blues and whites actually, ironically enough. Anybody who's been watching this stream is going to be familiar with this color. So you get yourself a fairly decent brush. I got my old standard workhorse, the old One Monument Pro Sables. These used to be called Bomb Wicks. I don't know what they're called. I guess they're called Pro Sables now.
I do think that's what they were advertising at that con that I remember hearing about them.
Yeah, back then, that was before they partnered up with somebody else or something like that. I don't know all the details, but anyway, so there was one part of this thing that I didn't miss around his little front vents. There, it's blue. I forgot to paint that when I was doing this. So you just get in there, be real careful, because we already painted the white.
Now, what's your advice for people like me who just haven't figured out how to control their hands yet and aren't careful.
The key is bracing. So when you look at like a desk, there's like the corner here. So like the corner of the desk. This is how I control it. I'll just like literally prop my forearm on it so it can't shake.
Mm.
And other than that, just a lot of practice. You could always hold your breath. Because when you hold your breath, your body doesn't sway quite as much. And the other one, incredibly enough, if you have problems with the shakes, actually alcohol. Drink an adult beverage, and it can actually help you
Really?
stop swaying. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not too.
I
not too
noticed
much.
I was shaking a lot when I was taking the pictures too. Like I would get it where I wanted it,
Mhm.
and then the camera would shift just a little bit every time I pushed the button.
Yeah, and that's just because when you tighten a muscle, your body's gonna like move, which it's just kind of just a normal thing your body does. Anyway, so get in there with this blue, clean up a little bit, and if there's a little spillage, that's fine, because this is all for Jesse from Fury's Finest, or I guess hello there. So when I paint stuff for him, he really likes weathering. So what you can do as a cool little stopgap is when you paint something and you get a little spillage, you can just weather that spot. Please turn off your audio, Kara. And
sorry.
when you have the opportunity to essentially like clean up, you can go in there and just kind of do whatever. And then, so I guess in this case you could like put some dirt marks there, and it can hide any spillage that you might have, which makes it pretty easy, in my opinion, at least in my opinion. Okay, so at this point we're just making sure we didn't miss any spots that are supposed to be blue, because we're about to start highlighting that stuff. Somebody sent me a message. Trying to figure out the music situation, because last time we got in a little bit of trouble. It's on the left side. Hold on one sec, guys. It's on the left side of Streamlabs and apps. Okay. Okay, I found it. Here we go. There we go. Okay. What? I think so. I just gotta figure out how to get back to where it was. Nope. There we go. Okay, so just finishing up base coats, get the blue, because you want to make sure that the undercoat of this is going to be as opaque as possible, because we're going to start painting on top of this. Which honestly, I don't think it's going to take that long. For what? If you want. Okay, so I think that looks okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work up to the next blue. Now, when you look at the reference pictures, he really doesn't get that blue. I think that the last color we use will probably be maybe a little surprisingly lighter on the scale, on the blue scale, just because we want to give it a little pop. But I think I really like electric blue. It's one of my favorites. I think this actually works out pretty well. We're not going to use it pure, because if we do, I think it will take it off the scale, off the color scale that we're trying to get. So we just plop some of that down if I have any left in this poor bottle. I've been using this stuff a lot. Okay, so I'm going to take some of that new blue, make a little puddle, a little bit of the old blue, give it a good mix. We're looking for something kind of, I'm going to say maybe roughly a little bit more on the lighter side. So I'm not looking for like quite 50-50. And make sure you give it enough water to keep it flowing. And I'm just mixing more and more electric blue in there until I get it consistently that I like. So yeah, probably right about there. Clean the brush. Okay. So we're going to think about light source. So again, we're looking for up and to the right. So we're looking from going from this way. So whenever we drag the brush, we're going to put it there and we're going to give it a little drag towards the light source. Now, when it comes to something that has like a 3D texture like these do, you'll have to get like the sides of the thing, of the little squares that are on R2. Now, each of these little squares is going to give you like a new chance to practice trying to pull the light towards your, the highlight towards the light source. The one disadvantage that you'll have with something with like an airbrush is that you can't get the individual highlights on each thing, something like that, like on a panel, very easily. Which is why it's really good for like doing vehicles and stuff, because most of the time those vehicles have like just, you know, single, they're not like paneled. That's why they're good for like tanks and stuff like that. While little stuff like this, it's hard to get that much control out of an airbrush. And at this point, we're just doing, you know, groundwork.
That color looks really good.
Thank you. Kara, what are you painting?
I am working on a field reporter from Malifaux. And that's my new game this week.
So Kara and I have been playing around with Malifaux, which I used to play a lot of. Well before I even knew Kara. To this day, it's the only event I've ever actually been able to win.
Woo! That was weak, I'm sorry.
And it was a long time ago when I used to play. Back, it must have been like middle of second ed, or second edition. Yeah, ed, I guess that works. But I played Guild,